Hello, my name is Nevis Teresi and I'm going to show you how I get to know my students. Getting to know my students is half the battle. I need to know who I'm teaching and why they need to know English. I'm an English teacher. I teach English as a subject at high schools. I also teach English as a foreign language, English for exams. I teach face-to-face and live online via WizIQ, which I really enjoy, by the way. So let's go and have a look at how I create the basis or the essentials for getting to know my students and how to help them, obviously. So the first thing I do is I find an effective placement test. Placement test means finding the level of English that the student is at. It's important to know if the student is an A1 level or an A2 level or a B1 level or a B2 level, because when I walk into the classroom for the first time, I need to know how to speak to these students, and I need to know that the class material that I'm walking in with is suited to that level. It's no use walking in with B2 material when I have A1 students. The only thing I will do is create a negative impact. And I don't need to do that. I need to have people that are willing learners, and I need to get them engaged in learning. After I've given them a level test, found out their level test, I then get them to fill out a student analysis form, which is basically a needs analysis form. I know there are many online. I tend to stick with a standard business one, or for business students, or sometimes in the high schools, the textbooks that they use in the high schools actually magically have a needs analysis form within the book. So I get the students to photocopy that, fill it out, and hand it back into me. Once I have these two things, that is what I use to create the basis for the course, the basis for teaching them, because that from then I know exactly what they need and how they need to learn. These are some of the free online tests that I've used, and they're free, which is fantastic, and they're quick, which is also another good thing. Most of them take maximum about 20-25 minutes. So it also, for business students and for students at high schools, it doesn't take much time for them to do. And once they've done the test, I get them to take a print screen of their result and send it into the class email account or upload it to the class Google Drive. And that works out well. Sometimes I use a paid online test, and the best one that I've found that's reliable, also because it has a learning management system, which to me is the be-all, end-all of teaching online, really, or blended learning formats, is the Oxford English Testing online placement test. And here is the link that I think is price and quality exceptional. Now, once I have their results, the students can be divided into groups or levels. Now I need to know their specific needs. So they've done the test, so I know what level they're at. A1, A2, B1, B2, C1, C2. Now I need to know why they need to either improve their English or why they need English in any case. So, as I was saying before, there are many student analysis forms available on internet. And I've used a particular one for business students, which I'm going to show you in a minute. And sometimes, though, it depends on the group that I have in front of me. Sometimes I have small groups or maybe individual students that if I hand them, a complicated needs analysis form, they might even turn the other way and not understand why I'm doing it. So sometimes I even create my own little or brief analysis form, or sometimes I even use SurveyMonkey. Anyway, I'll get to that another time. Alex Case, who works for Macmillan and writes regularly in the One Stop English blog, says we can only start teaching a student when we know what their needs for the language are. And I totally agree with that, because it's useless to walk into a classroom and not know what the students need to know English for. Because, or any subject, I think that this would be with any subject in any case. And they need to also know, the students themselves need to know why they want to learn something. That's half the battle. Then I create a database and analyze the results. Some of you may think, oh, it sounds like a lot of hard work, but it is a lot of work. But if we're teachers, we also are keen to understand how we can teach our students and at what levels we need to teach them at. These are some of the needs analysis form. This one here in particular is the one I've used at large organisations, especially when I have 60 or 70 students, and I need to categorise them not just into levels but also to make sure that I don't confuse categories. For example, if I've got a HR group that needs to concentrate on understanding material for interviews, I don't confuse them with like the production staff who may need to have an English to be able to communicate to their Chinese or German or American suppliers or providers. Okay, so I need to make sure that the categories of people that I put together in a group are going to learn well together. Okay, and sometimes this is another one that I've used as well, but as I said, you really need to know who you have in front of you before you actually create or give them a needs analysis form. Both of these forms are free, and I've got the links in the link page so you can download them. As I said, they're free. That's good. This gives you an idea of how I transform the information from the needs analysis, the business one in this case, into numbers. And then it just depends on you as a teacher and what you want to do with the information. And it depends on how important this information is for you to create your classes or groups or material. It doesn't suit everybody, obviously. Then what I do is I turn that information into a graph. Now, this is a hypothetical one here, but it just gives you an idea of how sometimes looking at something graphically does help you understand better. Well, it does me in any case. And it means that when I walk into the classroom, I've got this picture in my brain of who I have in front of me. So I immediately know how to control the class. No, control sounds terrible. No, I immediately know how to talk to that class, what level I have to walk in at. Okay, and that's really important because that's, as I was saying before, half the battle is knowing who you're teaching, and the other half the battle is you as a teacher preparing the right material to get the right level of engagement in students. These are some of the links. Alex Case, One Stop English, the needs analysis forms. This is the one I've used mostly, and these others I've used on occasion. Thank you for listening, and you're more than welcome to visit my blog site and leave your comment. Any comment is welcome. Thank you, and I hope you enjoy teaching as much as I do. Ciao from Italia.